Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. It's lovely to have you in. I am going to, right at the top of the show, as I always do, say hi to everybody who will be watching the replay. And it's really important that you also have your say as well as the people that are on live stream. So please leave a comment. I will get back to you and reply to any comments I have. Also, if you want to feel properly part of the conversation, if it takes a day for it to upload, but what you can do on the comments section, if you swipe left, it will give you the option to watch back the live chat as it happened during the show. So you can feel more part of the conversation and see what the other people watching the live stream were thinking and what we were all chatting about. That's great. And we really value your input. So thank you for joining us. Also, thank you everybody that's joining us. And as I always do, and I feel it's really important, is to thank Jay Dixon, who is our moderator, Ecology Today, the J-Bot. She's facilitating for us once again and makes the show really interesting and engaging for everybody who is in the chat, as well as taking a lot of stress off my shoulders, not worrying about, she keeps an eye on the chat and facilitates all that and adds interesting links. If you are in the chat, Jay at some point will promote your channel for you and put links in. If you have a channel and she hasn't picked that up, just give her a nudge and say, hi, I have a channel also, because not everybody that's in the chat always has a channel. She will do that. If at any point during the show you want to comment or ask a question, you can either put your question in all caps, because sometimes it's hard because the chat is on the side of the screen and it's whizzing by. So it's tricky sometimes to pick out the questions. So either questions in all caps or start your comment with a capital QQQ. That would be really helpful. Now, usually at this time, I do this week's news. And to be fair, there isn't. Last week, there was a lot of news because we'd had a failed attempt to take Kevin off in the trailer. And one of the things that happens when Kevin has to go in the trailer is you have to switch the electric fence off. And I rely entirely on them knowing that the fence is electric and not wanting to touch it, because the electric fence has to go around the trailer that he would go on. And if that touched the trailer, then the whole trailer would be live, and that definitely would put any animal off going near it, because, you know, the minute they touched it, they would get a shock. So that was off. And because that was off, he was able to exit the pen really easily. He ate my potatoes and my beans and trampled my garden, which was wonderful, as he as he enjoyed doing. And he ate my entire crop of main crop potatoes, and I was just left with little tiny bits of chewed up, spat out potato, because obviously at some point he got full. Since then, I've discovered, and I was just chatting to Jay a minute ago, some of my beans survived. I found beans today, so I'm really happy. The ones that survived the best were the Greek gigantes, which I'm really pleased about. And the other good news is I have been long on a search for Taunton Dean kale, which is a perennial kale or a tree collard. And I have two, and they have successfully rooted, and I have roots just starting out the bottom of the pot. So hopefully these will be going into the garden tomorrow, into the ground. I got all my tomatoes planted out today, and tomorrow I'm going to continue. I've got a little bit more ochre to go out, and I have a lot of chilies to go out. I've got so much chilies, and I'm going to have yet another attempt at sowing parsnips. Let's hope that goes well. So that's it. It's a very quick roundup of the news. I'm just going to pop into the comments and welcome everybody that has shown up today. And Jay is always in first. Thank you, Jay. So this live show is about to start. So she has been welcoming people. And yes, Rob, it's good to see you in. And I did get my laptop sorted. So anybody that was on turned up for last week's live stream will know I did it from my phone. It was very weird, very short, and very awkward because I was trying to run a live stream from my phone. I lost all of my research, but I've redone my research. That's all fine. And I'm very, very pleased that my new laptop, I'm just hoping it all works out. And we also welcome Kirsty in. Now, Kirsty, her channel is linked in the description as a contributor to this show. Some of you will know, if you've watched my videos, I'm part of a collaboration. There are, 6 of us now. And we collaborate and appear on each other's channels. We pose a question, and some of the people will come on our channel and answer their questions and have clips of the other smallholders. And then I will answer their questions and be on their shows. Kirsty is one of those people, and all of the links for all of those collaborators are in the description for this. The reason being is we've been chit-chatting, and everybody within that group has collectively given information and feedback, and that's fed into tonight's show. So those are all in there. So check out their channels. All of us either raise our own meat or are planning to and are about to raise our own meat, and we all grow our own vegetables, fruits and vegetables. So just scrolling down, that's everybody. Wow. Okay. Right. Today's topic, the topic for today is, oh, hang on. Let's take Kirsty's comment down there. Oh, I can take that one down too, can't I? Let's get rid of that one. There. Let's start fresh, shall we? This week's topic is food ethics. And with that in mind, with the collaboration of smallholders that I have had, have been invited. A couple of people haven't been able to make it, but I am being joined by a special guest. Now, the guests I have today have a farm. They grow their own fruits and vegetables. They also keep Ballowin sheep, and they also keep chickens. And some of the chickens they have are rescued chickens from a traditional chicken farm. They have completely transformed their lives and decided that the smallholding life is the life that they would like. They have been amazing inspiration in how they're managing their farm and getting on with the task in hand. And so I would, without further pause and ado, like to introduce you to Jamie and Tania of Ride's House Farm, and their YouTube channel is the Smallholding Adventures. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
How are you? And just like I've been finding on Smallholding, it's been such a busy week, but kind of rushed in at the last minute and gone, oh, so busy. So thank you very much for spending time and joining us in this at this really busy time.
That's okay. Thank you very much for inviting us on.
That's right. You're most welcome. So today's topic, we're talking about the ethics in raising our own food. I know a lot of our audience are sorry, I was just checking the chat. A lot of our audience are gardeners, and we think of gardening as a fun hobby and growing our own food as a fun hobby, but actually it's quite I will find the words in a minute, I promise. It's quite important in terms of food security and in terms of health, and there's quite a lot of ethics involved that you wouldn't necessarily think about. So is there a particular reason why you decided to grow your own food, or is it just something that you fell into?
I think I more fell into it. I think I fell into it first, and then as we've grown more and found out that produce is just so much better homegrown in taste, in freshness, it's just kind of grown from there, really.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, little caveat here. We've got dogs around our feet, so
that's all right.
Be aware that a dog may jump into view at any time, and I might
that's okay.
put a dog off to one side at any time.
That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. Steal the show. Yeah, and there's so many benefits once you start growing your own fruits and vegetables. I mean, I made up some banners, and the first one is eating in season produce. We're so used to going into the supermarket, and every fruit and veg you can think of is in stock all year round, and you kind of lose touch with the seasons a little bit. And unfortunately, our British bananas are a bit rubbish, but the rest of it's good. So that's one of the really brilliant things. And I guess to think of the benefits, you kind of have to think about the negative impact of like the mass-produced fruit and vegetables as well, really, don't you? The food miles, and that is my next topic. It's reducing the food miles.
Yeah, and we seem to be producing less and less in this country, so I think the food miles for our food that we're buying in the shops is just ever increasing. Anything you pick up in the supermarket is from Spain, it's from Italy, it's from here, it's from there. It's not from.
And then you hear about all the difficulties behind that with the pumping the groundwater, and like there's a real risk of places like Spain becoming a desert, like the desertification. I could spit that word out. It's kind of increasing, and it's encroaching more and more on their fertile farmland from the farming practices. I think it's a particular problem with avocados or something. Tomatoes, all sorts of things.
Avocados, I think, are a big problem. big problem.
Yeah.
And it's putting more pressure on them as well. You know, we're not producing what we could produce here. Is just putting pressure on other countries to produce more and more, because there is more and more of a need, not just for their own country now, but for supply to other countries.
There is that. I think a big part for me with my gardening is preserving the heirloom varieties and seed saving, getting into, because there seems to be more and more domination from the large seed companies to control which seeds are available and who can use them and who can have them. And especially for farmers, so if you buy in the seed grain, then you have to commit to using the fertilizers and pesticides and the routines that the big seed companies are imposing on them. So it gives you less opportunity then to farm ethically.
Yeah, definitely. They're very tied. And it's also nice to be able to produce seeds of rarer varieties as well that you wouldn't normally find. You might get a specific tomato that's been given to you by another smallholder farmer that you can't buy in the shops. It's actually nice to be able to preserve those seeds and then grow them on and have your own little collection of rarer varieties that you wouldn't find as well on the seed side of things.
Yeah, I actually talking about preserving and valuing rarer plants. I found, and it's just popped into my head. There's a website called PFAF. It's preserving plants Plants for a Future. It's called Plants for a Future. And basically they've got this huge database of every plant that they've found or can imagine, and its uses and its growing habits. It's a really good website I found.
Okay.
I know it just literally popped into my head, and I should have thought about it and put a link in the description earlier. It's really useful. I've been using it to research my tea garden for herbal teas, so it's a useful resource. And again, one of the other things I think that we do, and we benefit the whole world by doing that, is reducing artificial pesticides and chemicals from the environment. So we can't affect other people that farm, but for our part, we're not generally pesticide spraying or using chemicals on a large scale.
No. I mean, we don't really use any pesticides. Well, we don't use any pesticides whatsoever. So if something gets munched in the veg garden, it gets munched, and you just have to put up with that.
I think I spent more time feeding cabbage white larva caterpillars to my chickens. I think that's where I got the value from the food last year. I was just creating a little caterpillar farm to feed my chickens protein. I didn't get any brassica at all. So yeah, but then there's a problem. You find a solution that's rooted in a circle of life, in a habitat that's complete. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot better to do what you've done, really, is go round, pick everything off, chuck it in a little pot, feed it to your other animals.
Yeah,
because that is just the circle of life, and it's just a lot better than just spraying like abundance of chemicals everywhere.
Do you find with sorry,
Karen. That's all right.
I was going to say, do you find with allowing those pests to come in and munch bits that you're finding you've got more things like frogs and toads and more natural pest control, more wild birds coming in to feed to reduce that pressure for you?
Definitely, yeah, definitely find
lots of birds.
Yeah, you find a lot more animals, birds, and insects that you wouldn't normally see when you have got certain pests, because that circle of the food chain just grows. You get those pests, and the insect, the bird, whatever it is that eats that pest comes along, and then it just back chains, and then you kind of have this whole ecosystem growth of an ecosystem. You just find
it's very circular.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with that, you then grow on to the next circle, and then the next circle, and it just you just tend to find that when we moved here, we've got neighbours both sides, and all the neighbours were saying, "Oh, we've not seen this and we've not seen that since like the last owner had the place. This has disappeared and that's disappeared. Different butterflies, different birds, different things that people in the neighbourhood had not seen around this area for ages." And since we've now introduced back to not having things like pesticides and chemicals, and we're now growing and we've got animals coming in, and I'm putting flower meadows in places, we've now got so many things that have just appeared. So we've got different types of woodpecker have come back, we've got rabbits back, we've got different types of butterflies back, and all these things year on year now are just getting more and more. The more things we do, the more things we are finding are coming back to
it's amazing, because you get the new species you see, but you also observe that there are more of the beneficials as well. Last year I noticed that I almost had a carpet of ladybugs ladybirds over pretty much the whole of the grazing area. They were just everywhere. And the amount of different bees. So you get bumblebees, but there are thousands of varieties of wild bees and bumblebees. And I saw so many different, from the little small ones and all the different colors within them, kind of from the almost white right through to the dark orange. It's really good to see. I just want to go to chat really quickly and say hi, because we have Harvest and Home. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you earlier. Popped in. Nice to see you here. And we also have Adri from the Farmhouse Kitchen. So it's lovely to see you in too. And who else do we have in? I'm sure I saw somebody else. Not yet. Nope. No, I haven't. Rob mentioned something about Rob is working very hard to preserve brewers. Again, that's a whole another industry that relies on British farming for the hops and the grains that you use for the wheat. But also, he made a very interesting point, and I've probably gone past it again, about building houses on farmland, which is not particularly helpful. We have the Wickershire project in. Hi, Bill. Nice to see you in. And we have the amazing and lovely Shawnee in. And we've been talking about preserving heirloom varieties also. And we also have the amazing, there we go, that's it. The amazing Steve in as well. Hi, Steve. Nice to see you in. And that's everybody that's in. So thank you for your comments. Yes, and building on farmland doesn't help with the food production at all, does it?
Definitely not. And that's something that's happening a hell of a lot here in Kent. We're losing so much farmland to housing. So much farmland.
And again, sorry.
We're definitely not what we were classed as the Garden of England, and I don't think we're classed as that anymore.
Building site.
It's pretty much more buildings and concrete, the Garden of Concrete and Brick, I think now.
Oh no, it's not good. And again, the thing is, if we can't grow, the other thing is we can do ethically is to commit to support local producers. Like the community supported agriculture is a big thing in America. It's starting to become more over here with the veg box schemes. We tend to call it veg box schemes rather than community supported agriculture. But the whole idea of committing to buy a monthly subscription for vegetables, so the farmers knows about the income coming in. And Rob's doing a magnificent job keeping all the hops farmers and all the brewers in business too. That's brilliant. And
I'll join him.
Well, there's a brewery near me. It's about 20-30 miles away in St Austell, St Austell Brewery. So when he comes on holiday, he does a really good job at making sure they have extra business while he's here.
I know.
And he takes
very good.
And he takes his mate Pete along. Although Pete doesn't need any encouragement to help with that. And one of the other brilliant things about small scale farming and gardening is we tend to have so many more hedgerows, and gardens have so many edges and borders, and they're a brilliant opportunity to get some native flowering species in. And again, I don't know about you. I incorporate a lot of beneficial flowering species within my planting. So things like Phacelia, I leave a patch with pretty much most of my land has got dandelions all over it. But areas with nettles, because they're beneficial to so many insects. So there's this huge opportunity there to create habitats again.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we really wanted to do on this small holding. We've got a lot of areas that I would say are just not usable as storage, planting, or places we could put polytunnels or sheds or stuff. So in those areas, I've just let them go wild. So we've got a lot of wild areas all throughout. We're an 8-acre small holding. So from sort of we're quite a long small holding as well. So we're not wide, we're quite narrow in sort of size, but we're long. So down each side of the small holding, we've got a lot of different wild areas. In the last couple of years, the amount of just wildflowers that have grown in those areas have just multiplied, especially this year. This year seems to be a particularly good year. And with that, obviously, we've got a lot more bees and pollinators coming in for those flowers. We've got a campsite as well as part of the small holding.
I didn't realize that until I saw your last vlog, and you were like, "Oh, I've got to mow this 2 acres for the campsite."
Yeah. So although I do mow it, I tend to mow the outside edges, which is where we have the pitches. But the big section in the middle, if I'm not using it for any like little events or things that are going on, I just leave it because it becomes the most incredible flower meadow. This year it's kind of been taken over by buttercups. There seems to be some like incredible growth of buttercups this year.
It was a wet winter. They like the wet.
Yeah, I think that's what's done it. But yeah, we have all sorts growing on there. We have different clovers and bird's foot, and it's normally just a carpet of colour for months, and it's just lovely because we get all the butterflies and the bees in there, and you can just sort of sit in the middle of it and just sit and watch sort of nature just buzzing around you. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, I love that.
That's lovely. Yeah. And the other thing that we do really, really well, and I think is brilliant, is we reduce waste by recycling and composting. And I know it's a big thing in a lot of the gardening community where people actually go out of their gardens and areas and get from people that don't value or realize the use of it, gather leaves in the autumn to make their leaf mold from. And I think as gardeners, one of the terrific things we do is we don't like things go to waste. And again, for smallholders, even more so, that thing that goes to seed, that, that woody, inedible beetroot, that for me is all pig fodder or chicken feed or the lambs will eat it. For me, that's an amazing resource. And I think as a smallholder, reducing food waste is something that we do really well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have any real food waste as such. I mean, the council provides you with a food waste bin that you can fill. And yes, some things do go in there, I must admit. But to be honest, it's as much as ever in that bin can probably fit in the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
There is nothing else that's wasted. It either goes to the animals or it goes on the compost heap and gets turned into compost for topping up the veg beds for the following year or the following year after that. So
absolutely.
It is brilliant. You have very little waste.
I don't think anything leaves the farm. I don't think the only thing I can think of is occasionally things that get delivered are wrapped in something like plastic. Which really annoys me because I always buy like you buy the one that's eco-friendly. You buy the the certified wood that's been harvested ethically, and you buy whatever, and then they send it shrink wrapped. That every time, like, did you not see I spent double to get the ethical one, and you covered it? That always gets me. I'm sorry, I was a bit distracted because I was looking in the comments, and Rob is agreeing. Yes, he does do a really good job at keeping the breweries going. And Shawnee goes, the perennials that feed the bugs have been very handy, or self-sowing annuals. So Shawnee's working. She's put a lot of effort in to growing more perennials. So she's got a lot more fruit trees and fruit bushes and perennial plants. And perennials are amazing because they're perennial and they've got those roots in the ground. They get going so much earlier in the season, and then you've got food there for the insects really early on in the season. This is Bill from the Wicker Shop product Tania. I probably said that wrong. Makes the squash harder to ID. Last week it was the size of a large grapefruit. This week's the size of a bicycle. Getting huge. It's a freak of nature in the garden filming. I look forward to seeing that video, Bill. See, you'll be one. You have to enter into one of those county shows and see if you can win a prize for the most giant pumpkin or squash. And Steve is like, he grows a lot of flowers with his vegetables, gets the pollinators in. That you just need to ask people to put in the comments, see if they can work it out. And Shawnee's saying it's lovely to get an area overgrow to see what the seed bank is hidden. Yes. And Shawnee's also doing some experiments with land race seeding, where you throw things down and see what comes up and see what outcompetes everything else as well. And Jay's put up a handy link for you there, Bill. 73 types of squash and A to Z guide, A to Z guide. Depending on. Yes, Nadri's got buttercups everywhere as well. And yay, nice to see you in, Dave. I was watching your video earlier, your May tour of your garden. It is very interesting. I'm glad you the lovely Mrs. Bowtie's pineapples were surviving. Need rain now, 4 water barrels there. Oh yeah, it's been a hot spell. We've needed our water. And Shawnee's been buying this is the chat always goes back to dahlias. Sean the gardener has a penchant for dahlias. He's got a lot of amazing dahlias. Nice to see you in, Sean. Sorry, I should say hello to you, really. I'm scrolling through really quickly so we can get back to our topic. Yes, that's it. Daily dahlias in the chat. Okay. Now on this point, I think I've got just one more kind of headline point before we move on to the next bit of our topic, which is the most controversial bit, which is we grow community by sharing our excess produce. Now, I say that and dress it up as a really, like, isn't this a brilliant thing? Basically, we have bags and bags and bags of courgettes and we dump them on neighbours and run away. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Everything comes in floods, and we preserve and we use that food in the winter, and we feed it to our animals too. But there's such an abundance. There is always every allotment. There's always a table where people put their spare beans or their spare courgettes or their spare marrow, because it was a courgette, but of course it grew too quickly. Why they blinked. And there's that amazing generosity within the gardening. Well, both for smallholders and allotmenteers and gardeners. And as farmers with probably a little bit more, there are lots of food banks that are grateful to receive donations of things that would otherwise spoil. And I think that's something that is really something to be proud of, the generosity in gardeners.
Yeah, we have, there's quite a few. I do dog training, and I go and help out at my friend's dog training club on a Wednesday night. Throughout the summer, there's three of us, I think, maybe 4 of us. They basically all grow, and we all take excess produce along, whatever it might be at the time, and we've got like a bring and buy sale with no money exchanging hands. We just swap produce. It's like, do you want any of this? Oh, do you want any of that? Do you want any of this? Which is quite good. And then one of the women actually runs the club. She helps at a homeless centre. So if there's anything excess that people don't want or can't use, then she'll take it and either turn it into something to serve to the people that are coming in, or it depends what it is. If it's fruit, she'll take like bags of fruit along so they can come in and help themselves. It's great. It's really good.
Yeah, I remember when I grew up on a small holding as well. One of the things we did every single summer, we used to do a whole hog roast, and everybody from the church would come to our little small holding. We had this massive lawn. It was probably a quarter of an acre lawn, and it was always my job to keep turning the spit until I left home, and then my dad got a motor to do it. I thought that was quite rude.
Yeah.
But because it literally is an all day thing. I think he had the motor. I think he just used to, when I annoyed him, be like, "Oh, the pig needs turning," and he'd just like run out and take the motor off. Because I can remember turning it, going, "I've turned it for half an hour, a whole half an hour," and then he'd go, "Oh, I'll have a go." But then he popped up. I think it was just to get me out from under his feet, to be fair, because that pig started cooking the day before. But yeah, so it was just an amazing way. Everybody from the church would bring their family, and we'd all meet up, and they all came to the farm, and everybody celebrating this massive bounty of meat that we had in the summer. And that was, one of the pigs was always allocated that was going to be for the hog roast. So that was always really good fun. But we're talking about meat now, Jamie, so we may as well delve into the topical subject.
Yeah, just quickly going back onto the grow community by sharing excess produce.
Yep.
I've seen around quite a lot of new developments, so housing developments and places like that. Obviously, not very many, but there's a few out there that have communal garden areas where they basically set up like vegetable beds, and so all the community can go in and manage those gardens together.
So Jay, who you met earlier, she's Canadian, and she lives in a small house village, and actually they have community gardens, so everybody gets allotted a little garden, but it's kind of a community garden area, and everybody gets a little space that they're able to grow in. So community gardens are brilliant. And I don't know if you've seen the Urban Gardener on the Urban Gardener channel. He's in the States also, and he does alleyway gardening and like city gardening and rooftop gardening. It's just in fact, a lot of people in the chat, sometimes we have Howie from what's Howie's channel called? It'll pop into my mind in a minute. Something permaculture. I'll check in the comments in a minute, because Jay will be amazing and we'll link it. But he has lots of fruit trees on boundaries, and he uses lawns of other people, and he'll go and plant garden and share produce. And so this whole sharing and growing abundantly for everybody is a really big, amazing theme. Just at my old house, we had fruit trees growing in the boundary. People are like, "Oh, aren't you worried because like half your fruit's overhanging the alleyway?" And like, well, if a child picks that apple and eats that apple, that child has had nutrition. That's great. And occasionally we'd have people knock the door and say, "Oh, can I? I've noticed there's some, and it's great because there were plums and there were pears and there were apples, and it was kind of one thing after the other. It was always the plums first, and then the pears, and then the apples. So there was kind of a good 4-month period where, children, it was on the way to school. Children could have a piece of fruit on the way to school. It was brilliant. And they were really mature trees. There was a lot. There was always spare. Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good ethic. We all right to go back onto the meat now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I started talking about chickens because in the United States, these are statistics and some of them vary, but they seem to be most sources seem to be quite sure that in the United States, about 120 kilos was about the amount of meat that an average American would eat. And poultry makes up the largest portion of this. And in the UK, it didn't have such astounding results because every different site stated a different amount. And it went anywhere from 83 kilos was the maximum I could find, and 32 kilos was the minimum. And as I said to you earlier, I think 32 kilos is about one sausage a week. And I don't know anything to that. Is that, yeah, you either eat it or you don't you? In America, approximately 9.5 billion chickens are eaten every year. And in the UK, approximately 1 billion chickens are eaten every year. So that equates to more than 10 million chickens. So I think starting with the topic of chickens is quite relevant. And also being the smallest animal, or one of the smallest animals a person would eat, it's probably where most people's entry point to raising meat usually comes in. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about that. And I've made a bold statement: homegrown chicken is best. And so I thought, well, I need to qualify that statement. So I did some research and I got to this and I thought, oh, well, actually, it sounds quite nice, free-range chicken. To qualify as free-range chicken, meat chickens or broilers must have continuous daytime access to open-air runs, mainly covered in vegetation for at least half. And then I got to at least half their life. So half their life, they don't have to be outside or have access to outside, which I thought was not very nice. And then I went on to read the next bit and I got even more perturbed. It says they cannot be slaughtered before 56 days of age and must not be stocked at densities higher than 13 birds per square meter indoors. If you think of a square meter, which is a bit bigger than a 3 foot by 3 foot square, but not much for those people that are working in Imperial. That's a really small space. That is standing room only for a chicken and touching feather to feather in a hot shed. And researching, and I have put some of the websites that I used to do the research in the comments for this video. What actually happens, they're in such vast sheds that to get to that door, to have access to that door to get outside, is so difficult to get there and get out that most of the birds never make it outside the shed. And I'm saying this because I think you have almost first-hand experience of understanding that, and I'm wondering if I could prevail upon you to tell everybody how you know that free-range birds aren't as amazing as everybody makes out.
Yeah, so our introduction into chicken keeping was to rescue. We rescued eight. We rescued 8 organic free-range hens.
So they came from an egg-laying farm.
They came from egg laying. Yeah, they were egg-laying farms.
So people weren't like, but they were meat chickens.
Yeah, so these were egg layers. They were only about 18 months old, but they'd finished their peak production for the farmer. Most of them came to us without any feathers and in very poor condition. And speaking to the rescue society that we got them off of, they basically told us that you will find that a lot of the hens, even if they're organic, even if they're free range, they will be in poor condition because most of the hens don't actually get to go outside.
Or what she said that quite often where there's so many in the indoor area, when the doors open and some can go outside, a lot of them choose to stay in because then they've got more space. Yeah, so then they choose to not go out.
Yeah, that was the other thing that she said to us. So you end up with birds that are kept inside with a lot of
and I know for one of the concerns I have for my chickens and my flock, and I've actually got 2 hens that this applies to at the moment, is when they get broody, they stay in the nest box all the time. And I'm physically taking them out of the nest box because they are actually losing condition the whole time they're in there. And I can feel the difference between them when they go broody on day 1 and day 7 and day 14. And I'm taking them out of the brood box purposely, making sure they're outside on the grass, closing the chicken run so they can't go back in, and making them stay out for an hour on the green grass with the food and the water and the shade for at least an hour, and then I let them go back in because, you know, that's what they biologically want to do. But, you know, until they are. And so for me, the idea of a chicken being in a shed and not given that is so contrary to how I think of a chicken's life and a healthy chicken being. So for me, I think that really the ethics in raising chickens, both for eggs and for meat, is entirely the health and the happiness of that chicken. You know, I feel chicken should be scratching and doing its natural, exhibiting its natural behaviors. It should be clucking and happy. It should want to waddle over to you and say hello. It should be happy to be petted. It should feed corn from your hand.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be living in fear and dirt and darkness. No. I feel, and I think raising our own food, that's what we achieve.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we're completely with you on that one.
Yeah.
And I've put, that was one of my banners. We're probably doing it. I think chickens have long been exploited for their eggs. Like we have this higher welfare meat, but everybody knows they're also just the cheap eggs. You know, those birds that are kept in even worse conditions. So I've put on other considerations. So not talking specifically about chickens, although chickens do get transported, but transport of animals, I think it's a real welfare issue. And I actually have at the moment a pig who has had 2 attempts to go to the abattoir, but I can't get him to happily walk onto the trailer. He's been very difficult about it. And I've had quite a few traditional farmers saying you put a bucket on the head and you poke them with a stick and they go. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. For me, I don't want that animal to be frightened. It's going to go on the trailer happily. It's going to be comfortable on its journey. It's going to be a short 10-minute journey. I've got the closest place to process the animal to me as I can get, and it's not going to know any pain or anything. It's going to get there, and its ending will be quick and humane. It's not going to be terrified to get there. I was terrified because, you know, he saw the trailer and ran the opposite direction. I was in that opposite direction. I got a bit trampled and stood on. But you know, transportation of animals, and you see on the motorway, you quite often see these great big trailers, and particularly the sheep trailers, they have upper and lower decks, so they're kind of stacked on top of each other as well. I think for me, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, when we went and picked up the Balwens, I bought a bigger trailer than I really needed, just so that they could have the space, and just partitioned it nicely inside so nobody was rocking and rolling around. And yeah, because I mean, they've come over to us for as used to produce lamb, so that we can produce our own lamb from the youngsters. I just wanted it to be a really sort of chilled experience for them, really, more than a stressful, like all cram in this trailer and get bounced down the road in this little like box for like 3 hours because they came from up north. And we just have a few little dramas on the way home with the trailer, but we won't go into that. Everybody came back to here, having come from Shropshire to Kent, and put the trailer in the field, let them out, and it was like they've been here forever.
Yeah, walked off, started eating, quite happy.
Yeah, and that's how you would really want your animals to go, in the opposite direction, from here to the abattoir. It doesn't happen.
You've got to think as well. I mean, I don't know whether it's proven, but if the animal is scared, that fear produces hormones. Hormones will go around the bloodstream, will go into the meat. And then
absolutely.
Does it affect the taste? I don't know if it's been tested, but I feel like.
But you've still got those stress hormones within the meat.
Yes.
So it's still, you're still ingesting, even if it doesn't change the flavour, you've still got those hormones that you're ingesting. And what, if any, effect they have? But it's definitely not going to be a beneficial one, I wouldn't have thought.
No, that's what I think.
Yeah. They do say happy meat tastes better. I think it does, because they fatten up. So yeah, I think we've kind of covered quality of life, haven't we? We've talked about that, but that actually covers on the other points, and that's the quality, the nutrition in the meat, because if they have that quality of life and they don't have that stress, first of all, they're on pasture, they're eating herbs as well as grass and forage and bugs for the omnivores, and obviously the herbivores have got all the herbs and different things that they're eating. And so the flavour of that meat and the nutrition in that meat is going to be so much more dense than something that's fed just purely bags of animal feed. Have you got to the point where you've tasted your own meat from your pasture, or have you? No,
not yet. Not yet.
That'll be later this year.
Yeah, we're in our first if you like, of producing.
It was a real
eye
opener. It was a real eye opener for me. I'm just gonna go through a couple more points before I check, because I've just looked and there's like 63 chat things, and I haven't. I'll have to catch up on that in a minute. But I wanted to just do one more thing, because I had kind of vaguely heard of the Balwen sheep that you talk of. I'm not saying that right, am I? No, Balwen. The Balwen sheep you have, and I've got Oxford Sandy and Blacks, which are on the endangered species list, and I think that's something that small producers like you and I do much better, is support those rare and endangered species. So what's happened through the factory farming, I call it what it is. Factory farming is the biggest, the leanest, the quickest growing, the heaviest carcass weight, has won over the flavour, the utility, the handling, the temperament. It's won over, and those species are just really getting lost. And that, I think, is, I feel, is important. But I know, is there a particular reason you chose the Balwen? I've said it wrong again. But
that's right, the Balwens.
It was either going to be them or Shetlands.
Yeah, we were either in between them and Shetlands. I wanted the Balwens probably more than the Shetlands, purely because they are an endangered breed.
Yeah.
And
I looked them up after I saw you had them.
Yeah, they got near extinction. Very near extinction.
As did the Dexter cow.
Yeah, very
and
true.
and the Oxford Sandy and Black.
So wanted to keep something that was different as well.
Not just your standard
standard white sheep. Yeah, standard white sheep. So it was a bit of both, really. So wanted a rare breed, wanted to do something to keep the breed going, but also had heard that from a lot of other Balowen sheep owners that actually the meat is a lot slower growing and it is so much better quality. And that
will be, ironically, why they're probably nearly extinct, because they're gone, oh, that's too long on the land. I've got to get the next batch in. And not thinking.
Yeah, so the lambs take a lot longer to finish, basically. And I wasn't worried about the quickness and the turnaround. What we want to do with the herd we've got now is bring them on and produce them over the years to get better and better in quality. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at quality more than quantity, which obviously nowadays has completely gone out the window.
It's all about quantity.
I hope it comes back.
Yeah, I think it will, but I think it's going to take a long time. Yeah, I don't want more to say on that, really, but yeah, I think it definitely will, but I don't know.
Okay, I popped into the chat to have a scroll through. I think you can look at the chat too if you want to. You have that option, but I'm just
I've got the chat.
having a look through, and there is so much chat. So Harvest Day has said, oh, it's scrolled when I didn't want it to. I've lost it, but Harvest Day said we definitely need to look to farm things ourselves instead of importing it, was the gist of the message, but I've lost it now. And Farmhouse Kitchen, thank you. I'm glad you like this week's topic. It's a good one. We're not going to anywhere near cover all the information we've got. Adri is agreeing with you. I don't know when she agreed with you, but that's nice to know. Thanks, Adri. And circle grows. I think that must have been when we were talking about how the circle of beneficials and predators and species grows and grows and grows, and how more life brings more life brings more life. I think is what that must have been referring to. There we go. The farm is a reflection of the values, passion for a slower, more meaningful way of life. It doesn't feel slow, though.
No.
It's weird. We go, let's live simply. Let's live more meaningfully. And then,
busy.
There's not really enough minutes in the day, not enough seconds in the minute, not enough minutes in the hour, not hours in the day, not enough days in the week. It's just constantly chasing that thing to do. And I must have said something outrageous there. And Shawnee's taking a break from her garden. I'm imagining your weather must have warmed up, Shawnee. Harvest and Home saying hi. I'm scrolling through really quickly. If you spot anything there you want to, so Rob is saying that there's people also building on land, 2,000 houses just up the road from him. Shawnee's saying it's been lovely to find local plant nurseries propagating from what looks like to grow here in Minnesota. Yeah, and anybody that's propagating and growing rather than just ordering in from another big nursery abroad is going to have so much stronger resilience and conditioning to your soil types and your location. That happens. We get a lot of Dutch plants here in the UK from Dutch nurseries, and particularly bulbs, and then they just don't do so well in our colder, wetter climate. Seed type, seed squash. Oh yes. Oh, we did talk about your squash, didn't we? Let's whiz down further then. I've got back too far. Adri's saying that they could easily live without bins. I know we put our bin out once a month instead of once a fortnight, and it's only ever got one bag in. It's never got a lot in there. To be honest, mostly it's dog waste.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Teddy bear, flat sunflowers, Bill's growing at Wickershire Problet. Sounds nice. Jay put out if she has accidentally missed promoting anybody's channel, give her a nudge. Bill's been it's 5th season growing here. Wow. It's developing nicely. Yes, Howie, food for forest permaculture. I knew it was. Thank you, Bill, for yes. Reminded me Howie's food. Thank you, and Shawnee as well. Reminding us about scrolling through. I'm not going to get through everything, so I apologize. You guys can read through it on your own time. Yeah, the American sycamore tree in front of the house, front and center, star of the show. Trees are such beneficial things with the mycorrhizal fungi and the networks that they send out, aren't they? And farmers for years have been taking them out because they're in the middle of the field or in the way. You would walk willingly to the gallows. I would. Well, I nearly did. Kevin nearly had me last week. I think he just doesn't like the noise that the trailer makes when he puts his trotters on it. He doesn't know where it's going, I'm sure. Oh. Sean saw a cattle load of cows looking out from the gaps in the side. Yeah. I worry about them going on really long journeys because sometimes they used to take them onto the continent, didn't they, for processing. I think they've put some safeguards in for how far they're allowed to travel. Mm-hmm. Balwin, yes. I have to work on my pronunciation of that. So Bill has asked a question. There we go. See, we sprayed dish soap mix with water on our sugar snap peas to kill off aphids. 2 days later, the peas had brown spotting dots all over. Anyone know why? Your mixture was a bit strong. If you make it too strong, it will burn the plant also. Dish soap, I prefer not to use it. I do, but for aphids, I usually just wait for ladybirds to come and then plant again. Because dish soap is highly toxic to all insects. If we had an aggressive hive of bees that could not be tamed in any way, the way to or had back in the 80s when the varroa mite first came to the UK, if you found varroa mite, you destroyed the hive. That was what you had to do back then. And you would use dishwater soap, the same as you would use for the aphids, and that will kill an entire hive of bees within about 10 seconds. If you just dishwater, hot warm water, dish soap, about 2 or 3 litres, and just pour it in the top, lid on, they're all gone. Just so destructive to insects. But yeah, the mixture was probably just a bit strong, I would guess. Yeah. Don't know if anyone else has anything to say to that. Is Stella here? I missed that. Hi, if you're here, Stella. And Eddie. Hi, Eddie. Nice to see you here. And I'm at the bottom. There we go. Right. We have actually run over, but I'm going to spend 2 seconds. There is only one banner I want to put on quickly, which is creating harmony within the land. And that is because I feel that there isn't a single ecosystem, woodland, pond, forest, savanna, grassland, naturally created by Mother Earth that doesn't have both plants and animals coexisting together. The only place that I've observed that is in farmland, where they monocrop and they spray and they chemical fertilize and they destroy invertebrates and wildlife. And for me, I feel that having animals as part of my farm is really important in that balance of nature and living naturally. And every natural habitat has predators, apex predators, and the herbivores and the bottom of the food chain. And I just wanted to say that because that was one of my, and there's so much we haven't covered. We'll have to come back and revisit this topic again.
Part two.
Now, is there anything that is burning on your mind front and center? Like, I need to say that before we go.
No, not really.
No,
not really.
So.
No.
No.
I could talk all night. Definitely talk all night. Subject. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I will pop you off screen on the basement when I'm finished. If you want to, you can pop back on.
Yeah.
Any of the people who were not able to make it tonight but are in the chat who have the link can pop in afterwards if they want to for a quick chat privately. That would be you're most welcome. If I take you off the screen now, and then I will just say farewell to folks and wrap the show up. And I'll pop you back in a minute. Take care. Wow. Well, I'm really sorry. I've gone 5 minutes over. Oh, Stella, you just got back from work. Oh no, you just got back from work. We're wrapping it up for now. Oh, Dave would be here for the next 6 hours. Do you know what, Dave? I think you would have the stamina and the energy to do that. I don't think my throat and my voice would take talking for the next 6 hours. Anyway, it's been a really fun and fantastic show. If you've missed bits of it or you've come a bit late, there's always the option to watch again later and leave comments, and I will get back to you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody that has shown up and listened in today. It has been really interesting, and I think there definitely needs to be a part 2. I found that a really interesting conversation. Yes, sorry, the chat keeps moving. I shall just ignore that for the moment. So thank you very, very much to everybody for being here. I am live again next week. I am hoping that I will have a guest lined up. Who knows? And it will be again at the later time of 8 p.m. So thank you all very, very much. And I will hopefully see you all again next week. Bye.